We have reached that magical point in the program where we reach into the pocket and pull out the OTR pop quiz. You've really been looking forward to this, so here we go.
I'm treating this like Jeopardy.
We need the music, right? Na. Very good. Okay, so let's start the quiz in your neighborhood. You grow up. You live in?
I live in Hyde Park.
Hyde Park. Okay, so. In the 1960s, Hyde Park threatened to secede from the city of Boston. What was the issue behind the move? And the options are on the screen. Is it A, a proposed maximum security prison, B, a proposed highway that would have split the neighborhood, or C, a proposed coal-fired power plant?
It had to be C. I don't remember. I don't remember. It's a highway. They were trying to put a highway through Hyde Park in the 60s. For full reference, I was born in the 80s.
So
your father would be embarrassed that you didn't know that answer.
Yeah, my answer was C.
Okay,
it's a highway. It's a highway.
It's a highway.
It's always a highway.
Well, there you go. It's a highway. The famed Massachusetts 54th Regiment was based in Hyde Park. Denzel Washington was one of the stars of the movie Glory about the Civil War heroes. So here's your question. It's a true or false question. Denzel Washington won his first Oscar for his performance in Glory. Is that true or false?
He should have, and so I'm going to go with true.
You have got it. It is true, as our dear late friend Dick Elbert would say. All right, here's question 3. Let's try Crime TV. Dick Wolf. You've seen the name on the screen on television.
I have.
He's a creator of dozens of shows that are tied to law enforcement, Law and Order, FBI, Chicago PD, yada, 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 right? And on and on and on. So your question, it's a simple yes or no question. Has he ever based a show here in Boston?
There have been several based in Boston that have to do with law, so I'm going to go with yes.
Well, see, the question was, has he ever based a show here in Boston?
See, I just figured there had to be a chance.
And the answer is no. He's been in every other city but Boston.
So now I have to take that up with Dick Wolf.
So that's right. Right. Now you have to fix Dick Wolf, right. You are a graduate of the Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts in North Adams. The mascot of the school is a mountain lion. So here's your question. What is the mountain lion's name? Is it Murray? Is it Murdoch? Is it Montague?
So Murdoch is the name of a hall. I think it's Montague because I want it to be Montague.
Well, it actually is Murdoch.
It's Murdoch. Murdoch is the name of a school building. Like it's where I took classes. I can't believe we named I got to take that up with MCLA now.
So you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, jeez. What is that? 1 for 4?
Well, that's all right, though. That's all right.
I have good news.
If the major leagues, if you hit 250, you make $10 million a year. So don't worry about it.
I think it's more now.
Yeah, right.
The good news is the pop quiz is over, and now we go back to issues.
Wow. Now I'm going to get a call from my alma mater.
You get a call from Dick Wolf.
Yeah,
You're going to get a call from your father
myself.
for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about an issue that's sort of like taken over the country for the last couple of years. A national outcry for defunding the police has pretty much simmered to a murmur at this point. Where do you stand on cutting Boston's budget or reallocating those dollars to other community programs to deal with crime and violence in the city?
I think it's incredibly imperative that we understand what the causes of crime are. And the causes of crime are often the lack of programs and resources. And because of that, I believe in reallocation for public safety dollars to go to public safety programs, which to me include mental health treatment, include rehabilitation services, include job training, include things that actually make our city safer in a way that should decrease and reduce crime. And because these systems need to take place, you have to fund them. And the best place to fund them is from public safety dollars.
And how much, do you want to put a dollar figure on that?
We have in the past asked for funding. So for instance, in 2020, we moved $12 million towards mental health treatment, towards the BEST team, which is actually within Boston Police Department and works with mental health crisis.
More needs to be moved?
I think more does have to be moved because I think this is something where every year we should be making moves to gradually increase resources for things like folks who go out to deal with mental health calls, folks who go out to deal with addiction or substance use calls. Cahoots in Oregon is a great example of a program
100 million, less than that?
I don't know that you could move 100 million all at once. I don't know if that's responsible.
50 million or something like that?
I think it's important to fund exactly what the training is. One of the things that often comes back is that if you want to have social workers or folks to do this work, they have to be specialized and trained. Just because you make the money available doesn't mean you have the personnel available immediately to do that. So I think there's a ramping up
Michael
process.
Cox is police commissioner. Good.
I think it's good.
In your book,
I think it's good. I mean, I've met him. I obviously knew about his story from 1995.
Right.
I had not met him until recently when he was appointed. I am encouraged by the conversation that we had. I think he is a tremendously gentle man when you speak with him. I think he has a gravitas to him, but I also think that he is an example of what reform can do.
We've been making reference to this throughout the whole show tonight. You come from a very well-known political family. Your father and your brother were once city councilors, just like you are. Your dad is now the Suffolk Register of Probate. Your brother worked for former Mayor Walsh, so there are a lot of interconnections there.
Yes.
It's a very familiar name. However, they've also been subjects of high-profile controversies. So what has all of that taught you, and were they both unfairly targeted?
I don't want to speak into those particular matters themselves, but what I will say about my father is that he taught me what it meant to be in spaces that otherwise we are not represented in. I never had fear of being in any room. I never had a fear that I wasn't enough. I never had fear of having my voice be heard. And that came from the example that my father set for me. I think one of the things that's been a tremendous honor for me is coming from a family that has dedicated themselves to public service, but I also don't want to erase my mother in that story. And my mother was a teacher for 35 years, and many folks don't see her because she's not publicly in front of cameras, but I would not be who I am if it were not for the impact my mother has had on my life. And so I want to mention her here because I'm sure she'll watch this, and I think it's important for her to also get
teacher in Boston.
Teacher in Boston, a Boston public school teacher for 35 years, and really instilled in all of us the sense that we were supposed to always do community success. And what I mean by that is she made it very clear that if we came back very successful, but it was only individual success, she would not care.
But has it made you wary of being a political target if you win this election and you have much more of a citywide exposure?
Certainly. I mean, those are conversations that, as a child, I remember, a journalist used to use the nickname subtitles for my father because he spoke with an accent. I grew up with that. I grew up with watching my father targeted because of who he was, because he was a man of color, breaking barriers. And I will just say that when you are in public service, you give up a certain level of freedom and privacy because of the role that you take on. And I just understood innately, because of the work that they did, that the impact is worth it. But there is a price, and I'm always willing to pay that price if I can do good in the role that I have.
Ricardo Arroyo, it's great to have you in the chair. By the way, folks, great to see you. Thank you. You do know that this is effectively a primary race. I mean,
absolutely. There's no opponent in November.
So the winner of the September primary between you and Kevin Hayden will be.
September 6th will decide who your Suffolk County District Attorney is.
Roundtable is next.